Hey family, it's your girl Nina Soul, and I'm just about to head out to go do an interview with Andre Smith of Flip and Floss. So it's going to be a conversation that I'm really looking forward to because I'm hoping to learn from this as well. But if you like the content, what I'm putting out there on a daily, well, not daily, weekly basis, by all means, feel free to subscribe, share, like, and comment. Okay, so have a blessed day, and thank you for being a part of my family. A soul tribe, yay! Hey everybody, it's your girl Nina Soul, and I have Andre Smith here with me, who's just going to talk about his business, Flip and Floss, and just enlighten us about what he does and what the business is all about. So thank you, Andre, for being here.
Of course, thanks for having me. I love the lines.
Thank you. So tell us, what is Flip and Floss?
Yeah, so let's start with actually the acronym. So Flip and Plus is actually an acronym that stands for Financial Literacy and Investor Program, and future leaders obtaining sufficient skills. And I started talking about financial literacy because of a conversation that I was having, with Charmaine. And I started volunteering at the JCA teaching kids about financial literacy. And I got this award from CDC Toronto that really made things, got bigger and bigger. And from then, I've just been working with many organizations throughout the GTA, Jamaica, and in conversations with other schools in other countries talking about financial literacy. And now we've recently ventured into an edtech company that is using a simulated banking experience and a virtual currency to teach kids about financial literacy. It's pretty cool.
That's amazing.
Thanks.
Okay, wow. So, financial literacy, is it only for kids though, with the program that you're doing? Or is it also for adults, like people like me who need to learn?
Yeah. Well, we do a lot of workshops for adults. So the bulk of our workshops now, they're focused on adults. We do have workshops for kids as well. The platform that we're building, the EdTech platform, that's mostly for kids, but we've had a lot of adults who express interest. They've seen the animated videos and they're like, oh, I could learn something from this. So even though it's for kids, adults could potentially find value in the platform itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's so good to know because we do need this, especially in our community. I can attest to the fact that especially going through school, I went through a business course hoping to learn about finances, and that was not the case at all. So I went through and came out even more confused. I didn't know anything about investing, anything of that sort. So tell me more about the platform. So what do you specialize in, a particular area of finance? Is it investing, savings, wills? What things do you specialize?
Yeah, absolutely. And just like you said, I know nothing about money growing up. Money for me was always taboo. So we have what we know as the 5 key competency area that looks at different areas of personal finance. So we have the personal finance component that looks at, banking, investing. So we teach you like things about stocks, talk about real estate, and then we have the component that talks about wills and insurance. So we talk about different types of insurance, and we'll bring on different speakers that are more experienced in the insurance space. And we also bring lawyers to talk about wills and the importance of estate planning. Because what we've seen is that, especially in our community, we're seeing a lot of people who don't leave wills behind.
Yes.
And so, when it becomes time to, for example, get a house that was left behind by one parent or both parents, we have to go through probate court, for example, and the costs associated with that are expensive. But, even understanding things like, a will can even designate a power of attorney. So a lot of people say, oh, I don't need a will because I don't have anything. But what if you have kids? What if you have a medical emergency and you want somebody to make decisions on your behalf? So we talk about wills and estate planning. We talk about entrepreneurship. We've seen a rise in people becoming an entrepreneur in our community, which is great. And entrepreneurship is powerful. It's something that I have leveraged. I grew up relatively poor, and I've been able to do a lot for myself. I've been able to buy 5 properties because of the knowledge that I've gained from investing. Yeah, thank you.
Beautiful.
And continuing to build on that in so many ways. So those are the 5 areas that We cover, so like I said, personal finance, wills and estate planning, saving and investing, retirement and savings planning, and entrepreneurship. Because that retirement piece is also critical.
Okay.
We oftentimes forget about that retirement
It's
piece.
true.
And all of this, so if I were to take all of this, I'd put it in that umbrella of generational wealth. We want to be able to help people to build generational wealth. So it's not, I always tell people, wealth is not about me. It's about the generation to come, my kids and their kids.
True.
So that's what we're going to change. A lot of the things that we've seen, certain people growing up in hardships, or a lot of the deficiencies that we've seen, in many families. And so that's at the core of what we focus on. And because of the impact that we've been having, that's why we start saying, we're not only talking about money, we're changing lives, because we've been doing that.
Beautiful. Let me ask you a question. What's the youngest age that one could register for a program of this sort?
Well, I've worked with kids that are as young as 5. So there was actually, I can't remember the name of the organization that I work with, but I've done programs with kids as young as 5. Right now, on Flip Academy, so that's coming out this summer, like next month, we're going to launch the first version of Flip Academy, which is the virtual reality that teach kids about financial literacy. So that platform, as I said, is designed, the current version is designed for kids 10 to 14 years old. But of course, we want to build something for younger kids, right? But, we, at some point, we have to bring on the experts in that space, because kids that age require a different type of learning methodology and things like that. So we will have to bring on the experts to help us to design the courses in that age group. But for now, we're starting with the kids 10 to 14, and we'll continue to work with adults and older kids in our in-person workshops.
What inspired you to start this? What triggered? Was it you having a personal experience saying this is not sufficient, or did you have a bad experience? What inspired you?
There are a couple of inspirations. I think the biggest push at the time came from losing my friend here in Toronto. So unfortunately, he got shot in a drive-by, wrong place at the wrong time. And he's a very hard-working person. I saw his mom work really hard. He always wanted to help them. And it's a story that I see over and over, like that one kid working hard. It's been my experience too. That's working so hard to help their family and whatever. And a lot of that is because of the lack of generational wealth. And so when that happened, I was moved to start something, to start giving back to my community. And so that's when I actually got in touch with JCA, because I'm like, what? Rather than me starting something, let me go volunteer with something that already exists. So that's why I started volunteering with JCA. But in terms of, taking this further, that inspiration also came from my grandmother, because my grandmother was very close to me. She was big on community. She was an entrepreneur herself. And she's instilled that. Yeah, she had a shop. The Jamaicans always have a shop. So yeah, she had a shop. I also see mistakes that my family has made in business, and I wanted to, of course, build on their successes and what they know, but to take it to the next level. So that was also part of my inspiration to get into that space of financial literacy. But again, that community piece that my grandmother instilled in me, and then I learned about Black Wall Street, for example. And so that was also another inspiration. So as you can see, there were multiple things that inspired me to get to this point. I know we're here, we're having a global impact, we're talking at conferences,
Nice.
We are partnering with a lot of organizations and doing great work.
And that was the next question I have. I wanted to touch base on your grandmother, and I also wanted to find out from you, where is this going to, are you going to be doing other collaborations with other companies? But you just touched on that. So
Yeah.
what do you foresee for Flipping Floss in the future?
We envision a world where generational wealth is not where it's at now, in the sense that there are so many people growing up without, so many people struggling to go to university, so many people struggling to go to college, to start a business, whatever the case is. We envision a world where average people have access to generational wealth. And I mean, there are little things that we can do to do that. And I envision a world as well where we don't have issues such as wage gaps or people making poor decisions that finances are leading to marital breakdowns, for example, and all these things. Because as much as we either want to admit or don't want to admit, finances play an important part of our well-being. And so when we make poor decisions, it affects us directly. So we want to bring about transformational change in that area. But of course, we want to work with organizations. So that's why we've been partnering with all these organizations, not-for-profit, churches, school boards, and of course, working directly with individuals. So we want to see Flip and Floss everywhere. We're going to keep flipping, and people are going to keep flossing everywhere.
Okay.
That we can go, and we're going to impact so many people everywhere.
I love that. I love that. Wow. So, how does your program differ from other online programs that's in the financial sector?
Because we're a flip boss. We're a true flip boss. I think a lot of people that I see talk about financial literacy. You go on social media, everybody's talking about the same thing. One person posts a video, another person posts a similar video. We love what we do, we are passionate, and we are doing it for a bigger cause. And so that is why we continue to innovate. So when you actually look at a lot of financial literacy platforms, it's just pre-recorded courses with somebody talking about real estate or whatever. We've actually spent a lot of time thinking carefully about the people that we're trying to connect with. And that is why we've landed on a platform that is the first in Canada, right? We've seen similar platforms, we've seen EdTech, but we've not seen anybody go on the route of simulating a banking experience for kids, right? Because we were of the view that if as adults I needed to learn about banking, which mind you, I had a hard time navigating banking in Canada when I just came here. And even people who were born here had a difficult time navigating finances and banking.
That's true.
So that's what led us to simulating, creating a kid version of a bank that they can enjoy without the consequences of adulthood, but they will fully understand it from an early age. So no other platform out there is doing this. So we're the first that's doing all this, or Flip Dollar. We've created what is known as a Flip Dollar that's tied to the brand, that as they're learning, they're earning and they're getting access to real money that they can do things. So that is innovation at its core. And we continue to innovate. We have a lot of other innovative products that we're coming out with that no one has ever thought about. Right? So that's why we're different. That's why we say we're true flip boss. And people can come and flip and floss with us like a boss.
Wow. That is so good. Considering that, okay, so how long has Flip and Floss been in business now for? Like, how long has the company been?
We've actually incorporated August 2020, so fairly new. Myself, I've been in business for much longer. I've been a business consultant for about 8 years prior to incorporating Flip and Floss, but we've been fairly new, and the impact that we've been having is just beyond crazy. Like recently we spoke at a conference overseas. The conference had about 1,000 people online and in person, and already the viewership on that is probably over 12,000 by now. The last time I checked it was 8. And we've been engaging in so many talks. We just piloted the first financial literacy program for inmates with Correctional Services Canada.
Yes.
They now want us to expand that, so now we're offering financial literacy to inmates. So we're going in all the spaces that no one has ever gone in, and we're bringing about transformational change.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
No problem.
Wow. Okay, do you have any testimonials from clients, people who have used your services, or that you can share?
Yeah, we actually have a ton of testimonials. I'll give you a couple. So
Okay.
we just got one recently. This person by the name of Amanda, she was in one of my workshops that talks about pricing strategy for entrepreneurs. And she said it was an amazing program. She's participated in other programs that didn't cover the depth and breadth of what I get into. And so she actually referred me to another program called Lift Off. And so now we just partnered with that program to offer services to them because of this referral from this one person. We have a 5-star rating on Google. Over 40 people reviewed us, and more is going to come because we have like a couple workshops running now with a couple of probably about 30 participants. So of course they're going to go and leave reviews as well. I have a friend, well, he's not a friend, But when I met him, I was doing one-on-one investing and coaching with him. He's been in Canada 5 years, already bought 2 properties here in Toronto. And sorry, one is in Chatham, Kent, and one in Toronto. When he came, he never knew anything about buying property. And so that's how we actually became friends, because he's so inspired by what I do and, you know, what I've been achieving. And, you know, I have other people, teachers who are now investors in stock, who had money saved up that didn't know that they were losing money to inflation. I have probably over 150 people that are now investors because of, you know, the experience that they've had with Floss. So we are seeing people becoming homeowners. I mean, sometimes I get calls from people randomly asking me a lot of questions about investing and homeownership. Of course, there are certain things I can't talk about and I can't give certain advice, but we are having such an impact that like people from everywhere and anywhere is calling for different types of investment advice.
We're grateful, because I know for me, even last year, I remember I was driving, I was on my way from a brunch, and I think Charmaine texted me and said, oh, there's a Zoom on. I was like, send me the link, and I'm driving and I'm trying to listen. And there you were giving people advice as to how to own property in Jamaica and what they needed and the requirements and the laws and so forth. And I was like, wow, but here I was trying to drive. I had to have the person next to me write down, can you write this down, take down the notes. But it was just so informative, and I'm just saying thank you for what you're doing, because our community really does need this. Okay, so your different programs, you have so much going on, and I would really love to talk about the other things. You also have a book.
Yes.
Living Purposely?
Living Purposefully Beyond the Walls of the Ghetto.
Yes. You want to touch on that a little bit? Because I know it's on Amazon. I purchased the book and I started reading it, and that's how I learned about Grandma Edna.
Oh, yes.
So, do you want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I mean, that was, a big part of that was to really capture the great work that my grandmother did. I mean, my grandmother and I were super close. But yeah, Living Purposefully Beyond the Walls of the Ghetto, it talks about my journey growing up in the ghetto in Spanish Town. You know, to going to university and to coming here in Canada, and you know, dealing with some of the difficulties in Canada. You know, when I came here, I had my grand uncle, but that was it. I had to build my own life in this country, and so one of my primary drivers for writing a book at such a young age, even the person I met with over lunch today, she was like, "You had a book already?" You know, like she can't believe I'm doing all of these crazy things, and I said, "Yeah, I have a book already," and she asked me, oh, how come I have a book so early? But my primary reason is because I wanted to connect with young people, especially young black men, to say, you know what, despite the hardship, despite what people say, despite their opinions of you, you know, you can be great. I'm the same age as you, I'm just as young, I have same economic circumstances, if not worse, you know, but here I am doing all these great things, so you can too. And I feel like I'm able to connect better with people when they can see me going through it. You know, a lot of people who write books, they've already either reached a couple hundreds of million, they're a billionaire or whatever. So by the time they write a book, it's hard for somebody who's just starting out or whatever to relate to it, right? So I wanted to make my experience relatable. So that was also part of my driver for, you know, putting that book out there.
Grandma Edna had 4 principles that you lived by. You want to elaborate on that?
What are the 4 principles? I mean, I can't remember all 4, but definitely I remember the power of community.
Yes.
If I can't remember anything else, I know my grandmother was super big on community, right?
Which you are definitely doing right now.
Yeah, it was, you know, like one of the biggest things that I take away from my grandmother is the ability to talk to everybody, regardless of how you look, where you're from, how you think, and that has been a key part of my growth. And you know, I remember one time a friend came to me because I was talking to this homeless guy in Jamaica, and he's like, Andre, you know, one of the things I love about you is that you can have a conversation with anybody. And I said, yeah, that's how I learn, that's how I grow. And it even aligned with one of my most favorite lines that comes from the poem Desiderata, that says, listen to the dull and the ignorant, because they too have their story. You never know what you can learn from people. And so, you know, it's just taking what my grandmother talked about, the power of community, and the other 3 lessons, which I should know because I wrote a book.
What
but
was
just building
integrity, yes.
integrity. Yeah,
Yeah.
you read the book, so yeah, you can tell me that.
I don't remember all of them, but yeah, I
But
was
yeah.
like, I thought it was really good that it's like, wow, you know, that you adhere to those things that she's taught you. I remember even the fact that we were having the issues at school and avoiding school, and she would go down there and talk to the people that it didn't matter, as you were saying.
Right,
she was a
right.
humble person, and it didn't matter the position of where the person was at. She was able to come up to their level, or you know, to another. Yeah. So she was able to communicate with everybody on their level, and
100%.
and allowed you to adapt those principles as well.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
beautiful. Wow. Okay. So Flip and Floss, how can people get onto, like, why don't you tell them where they can find you? Websites, Instagram pages, so forth.
Yeah, so let's start with the website. So you can find us at flipandfloss.com. And our other website that's coming out as well will be flipacademy.ca. That's coming next month. We're also on all social media platforms. So on TikTok, we are flipacademy_kids. And my personal TikTok is flipboss. And on IG, it's flipboss_t. And then my business page for Flip and Floss is Flip and Floss. So once you go and search anything Flip and Floss, you most likely come across us.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're here and we're always happy to connect.
Okay. I'll list the links below so you can just find them for yourself, but they'll be down below. Okay. So is there any advice or things that you want to leave with the audience? Words of advice, maybe?
Yeah, definitely. I think the most important message that I want to give to the people is to stay true to their core belief. And, we all have a purpose in life. And, sometimes that purpose evolves and it changes, but stay true to it, keep working toward it, and just never give up. I know for me, there were times when I was going to school hungry, I was going to school without lunch money, I was hopeless, and I felt like giving up. I know it's easier said than done now. Like, it's like once you've elevated to a certain level, you somewhat get out of touch with somebody's experience who's currently going through that. But the message remains true, that you should continue fighting, continue to believe in yourself and your abilities, right? I have overcome so much, and I know everybody has the ability to overcome. And once you stay true to your belief and continue to work for greatness, Dwayne Johnson said it: consistency leads to greatness, and I've been consistent throughout my years. And so that's what we are teaching at Flip and Floss, so that everybody can come and flip and floss like a boss, right? But yeah, stay true to your belief and continue to work hard and continue to believe in your purpose. I live purposefully every day.
That is it. You heard it from Andre. Thank you, Andre, for taking the time out to. Yes, it was a blessing. So, as I said, the links will be below. Find his book also on Amazon. I'll also link that below, and let's support each other. Again, thank you for being a part of my tribe, and thank you. Blessings. I want to thank you guys for watching this video, and don't forget to get the book by Andre Smith, Living Purposely Beyond the Walls of Ghetto, available on Amazon. Thanks again, guys.